Welcome back to Horns Eye Studios for another episode of 666 Seconds of Murder. That means each one of these videos is less than 666 seconds or 11 minutes and 6 seconds. So let's get down to business. Now I'm doing this video a little bit differently than I've done before. I'm taking the PowerPoint stuff out. I hope you like it better. I know that some of you commented and really like the PowerPoint, but I do think this will improve things. So check this out. Let me know what you think. Now, this is in response to HAYES, who recently released a video about the possible motive in the Idaho 4 case, and he asked me for my input on that issue. Now, most of you here know who HAYES is, but I will link to his channel in the description below in case you're not, so you can go subscribe. He is a good friend to me. Now, AR mentioned that Emma was dropped off by the police to the apartment building where Brent Kopacka lived in Pullman, Washington. That's interesting. I've also wondered if they knew each other because I recently did a True Crime Deep Cuts on Brent Kopacka, and he was allegedly using substances, and it would be possible that he would have crossed paths with Emma and Demetrius. We know that they were involved in selling substances in Moscow and Pullman, and both of them were involved in the case of Caden Young, who took excessive substances and expired 4 months after the Idaho 4 case. Now, somehow, both of their cases were dismissed in Washington. So I'm doing another video about Caden. That's a whole different story here. Now, AR also mentioned that Emma signed Brent's book at his funeral. So I think the likelihood that they knew each other is pretty probable. Knowing her is not a good thing. She is a sketchy individual, to say the least, and bad things just seem to follow her around. So, to AR's question about the motive in the Idaho 4, I think that there were multiple motives in this case. I think that's why this case has so many rabbit holes. This is not a simple husband attacks his wife for insurance money or wife finds husband with another woman and ends his life on the spot. This is much more complicated than that, and I think it's because there were multiple motives and multiple people involved. I've compared this case to a rotten onion with many layers, and it definitely stinks. Now, one motive here was financial, and most likely that was related to illegal substances. We've heard all the stories about the house. The girls had dozen or more bank accounts for a reason. I think that the fraternities were part of that illegal substances food chain, and I believe that's why Hunter Johnson was at that house constantly. I think he might have been, the first one they called that following morning. I think that he was the frat's on-site person keeping tabs on the inventory that they kept there and the individuals in the house. I believe that there was some drama involving these substances and the money associated with it. We've heard that one of the girls flushed some of the product. So if that's true, that would definitely get some people pissed off. I think another motive was payback. I think it's very possible that Xana's mother and Maddie's stepmother gave up some information to law enforcement in exchange for light sentences for these major drug trafficking charges. If that's true, then that could have been another very serious motive for this crime. Another payback motive for these crimes would be the guys at Sigma Chi against Ethan. We've heard the 4chan post about David Loach and his cronies over there allegedly doing these crimes in retaliation for issues that he had with Ethan and the comments he made about his steroid use at the party the night before these crimes happened. He also had issues with Maddie over insulting him at their Halloween party only 2 weeks before these crimes. Of course, all that is allegedly. Now, I also think that the motive here could have been passion. I think it's very possible that Jack DeCour, Kaylee's ex, could have been involved in this. They broke up only 2 to 3 weeks before the crimes. He was known to be a jealous person and had been leaving some pretty shitty comments on her social media pages. She was also taking the dog that they co-owned to Texas to start a new life without him. I mean, that's a strong motive. He also lived very close, only a 30-second walk away. So we get all hung up in that white Elantra, that you see on the camera, supposedly. And I feel that there were plenty of people within walking distance to this house that could have done this for a variety of reasons and motives that I've mentioned here. So AR, I hope that you like my input on this with the motive and part of your conversation. So I'm going to pose something to you for a response to me. Now, we talked about the motives for the crime, but what about the means and the opportunity? Who do you think had the means and opportunity to commit these horrible crimes? Love to hear what you got to say, AR. I also want to say thank you to the members of the Horns High Club. You guys are awesome. I appreciate your support very much. And for all of you that watch these videos, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on 666 Seconds of Murder.